The fluorescent hum of the office was Ren Tanaka's daily soundtrack, a monotonous drone that perfectly mirrored the rhythm of his life. Each morning, the same crowded train deposited him into the heart of the city's concrete jungle, a maze of towering glass and steel that felt light years away from his cramped, humble apartment. His desk was a monument to the unremarkable, piled with spreadsheets and invoices that blurred into an endless stream of data entry. He was a cog, a pixel, another nameless face in the bustling metropolis, and the quiet despair of it had settled deep in his bones. Sometimes, during the brief reprieve of a lunch break, he'd gaze out the window, not at the soaring skyscrapers, but at the reflection of his own tired face. He'd see the shadow of the boy he once was, a boy with a secret, fervent crush on his childhood friend, Akari Kaito. He remembered the sting of her casual rejection, delivered with an almost bored shrug and a dismissive, "Ren, we're just friends, you know?" It had been years, but the memory still pricked him, a quiet reminder of his own hesitancy, his own inability to truly reach for what he wanted. He'd never tried again, retreating into the comfortable mediocrity that now defined his days. His only true connection to anything meaningful was Tanaka Coffee, his family's struggling coffee shop. Tucked away on a quiet side street, its wooden facade and the comforting scent of roasted beans were a warm embrace in a world that often felt cold. It was his grandfather's legacy, then his father's, now teetering on the brink. Every month, the numbers grew tighter, the weight of dwindling customers and rising costs pressing down. Ren contributed what he could from his paltry salary, but it felt like bailing water with a thimble from a sinking ship. He dreamt of saving it, of bringing back its former glory, but the path forward was as murky as yesterday's forgotten brew. It was during one such mundane Tuesday afternoon, as he was mindlessly entering supplier details, that the first tremor hit. His phone buzzed, a news alert flashing across the screen. Kaito Innovations acquires multi-billion yen investment. CEO Akari Kaito announces expansion strategy. Ren frowned, the name ringing a distant bell. Kaito? Akari? His fingers, suddenly clumsy, tapped the link. The image that bloomed on his screen was a punch to the gut. There she was. Akari Kaito. But not the gangly, pigtail-wearing girl who used to tease him relentlessly in elementary school, nor the sharp-tongued, quick-witted teenager who had so effortlessly brushed him aside. This Akari was formidable. Her hair, once a wild cascade, was now a sleek, sophisticated bob, framing a face that was sharper, more refined, etched with an undeniable intelligence and an almost icy resolve. She wore a tailored power suit, a stark contrast to his own rumpled office wear, and her gaze, usually defiant, now held the piercing focus of a predator. Beside her, a backdrop flashed with the logo of Kaito Innovations, a sleek, futuristic design that practically screamed cutting edge. He scrolled further, his breath catching in his throat. The article lauded her as a prodigy, a visionary who had built Kaito Innovations from a startup into a tech empire in less than 5 years. Her company was at the forefront of AI and sustainable energy solutions, poised for global dominance. Ren felt a strange mix of awe and resentment. This was Akari, the girl who rejected him, now a titan. The irony was a bitter pill. While he was drowning in spreadsheets, she was literally reshaping the world. The tremor quickly escalated into an earthquake. The next morning, a pristine white envelope appeared on the counter of Tanaka Coffee. It wasn't a bill or a flyer or a notice from the city. It was thick, heavy stock, bearing the imposing, minimalist logo of Kaito Innovations. Ren's father, a kind man whose hair had gone prematurely silver from worry, had opened it with a nervous tremor in his hands. Ren had been helping with the morning rush, wiping down tables, the scent of fresh coffee a temporary balm to his simmering anxieties. He saw his father's face drain of color. "Ren, look at this," his father murmured, handing him the letter. Ren took it, his fingers brushing against the expensive paper. The formal language of corporate legalese swam before his eyes. He skimmed through paragraphs of boilerplate, his heart beginning to pound a frantic rhythm against his ribs. On behalf of Kaito Innovations, We express our strong interest in the acquisition of Tanaka Coffee, recognizing its unique cultural value and strategic location, offer of fair market value, opportunity for seamless integration into our burgeoning lifestyle division. Acquisition. Akari. His family shop. The words crashed into each other in his mind, forming a chaotic, unbelievable symphony of dread. Akari Kaito, the tech CEO, wanted to buy Tanaka Coffee. His Tanaka Coffee. It felt like a deliberate, almost cruel joke. They want to buy the shop? His father asked, his voice barely a whisper, a mixture of shock and a strange, fragile hope. The financial struggles had worn him down, and the idea of an escape, however painful, might have appealed. But Ren couldn't stomach it. This wasn't just a business. This was their history, their name, their stubborn refusal to be swallowed by the ever-expanding corporate maw of the city. He saw his grandfather's meticulous handwritten recipes, his grandmother's favorite teacup, the worn counter where countless conversations had unfolded over decades. No, Ren said, the word coming out sharper than he intended. He looked at the letter again, his gaze hardening on the signature block, though her name wasn't there directly, just the corporate title. It felt like her hand, cold and unfeeling, reaching for their legacy. He excused himself, his mind a whirlwind, and headed for the quiet corner booth he'd always claimed, pulling out his phone. He needed to talk to Kenji. Kenji Sato, his best friend since elementary school, was the grounding force in Ren's often drifting life. Kenji owned a small tech repair shop a few blocks away, a surprisingly successful venture fueled by his sharp wit and practical mind. You won't believe this, Ren blurted out the moment Kenji answered, not even bothering with pleasantries. Try me, Kenji's cheerful voice replied. Did you finally quit your soul-crushing job to become a professional cat whisperer? Worse. Akari Kaito. The CEO Akari Kaito. She wants to buy the shop. Silence stretched for a beat, then Kenji whistled. The Akari? Your Akari? The one who crushed your poor, innocent heart with a single, brutal sentence? That Akari Kaito. There was a hint of suppressed amusement in his voice, but also genuine surprise. The one and only, Ren gritted out. Kaito Innovations. They sent an acquisition offer. For Tanaka Coffee. Whoa, that's aggressive. Even for a corporate shark, Kenji mused. I mean, it's just a coffee shop, Ren. A great one, mind you, but still. A tech giant buying a family cafe? That's like a sumo wrestler trying to buy a paper crane. That's what I thought. It makes no sense. Unless, Ren trailed off, a cold suspicion creeping in. Could this be personal? A power play? A twisted form of, what? Revenge for some perceived slight? Or perhaps, was she just being efficient and ruthless, and his family shop was merely a number on a spreadsheet? Unless what? Kenji prompted. Unless she knows it's our shop. My family's. And this is her way of. I don't know. Proving something? Making a statement. Kenji scoffed lightly. Ren, don't flatter yourself. She's a multi-billionaire CEO. She's probably got a whole team targeting struggling businesses for some expansion strategy. It's just business. Cold, hard business. Despite Kenji's pragmatic words, a knot of unease tightened in Ren's stomach. He remembered Akari's sharp eyes, her unwavering confidence, the way she pursued her goals with an almost terrifying intensity, even as a child. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was too direct, too deliberate to be entirely impersonal. So, what are you going to do? Kenji asked, his tone now serious. Sell? Take the money and run? It could solve your family's financial woes. Ren looked around the cozy cafe, at the worn wooden tables, the gentle steam rising from the espresso machine, the familiar faces of their morning regulars. This place wasn't just a business, it was the heart of their family, a haven in the chaotic city. The thought of Akari's sleek, impersonal corporation swallowing it whole, stripping it of its soul, made his blood run cold. He thought of the look on his father's face, a mix of resignation and hope. He thought of his own uninspired life, the weight of mediocrity. This wasn't just about the shop anymore. It was about him. It was about proving to himself that he wasn't just a timid daydreamer, easily pushed aside. He straightened in his seat, the crumpled acquisition letter in his hand. No, he said, his voice clearer, firmer than he'd heard it in years. "I'm not selling. Not without a fight." A beat of silence. Then Kenji's voice, a surprised smile evident in his tone. Well, look who found a backbone." "Good. I was getting tired of watching you mope." "So, what's your brilliant plan to fight off a corporate titan, Captain Coffee?" Ren stared at the Kaito Innovations logo on the letter, Akari's powerful image flashing in his mind. The Tsundere tycoon, he thought, with a bitter twist. This wasn't just a business deal. This felt like a personal challenge, a ghost from his past demanding to be confronted. And for the first time in a long time, Ren felt a spark, not of despair, but of defiance. He didn't know how, but he would fight. He had to fight. Because if he let Akari Kaito take this, he might as well let her take everything else he had left of himself. The aroma of stale coffee and desperation clung to Ren Tanaka like a second skin. The news from the previous day still echoed in his mind, a discordant symphony drowning out the usual city hum. Akari Kaito Industries. His family's coffee shop. The words spun in a dizzying vortex, threatening to pull him under. He'd spent a sleepless night, pacing the cramped apartment above Tanaka's blend, the only solace being the rhythmic creak of the floorboards under his worn slippers. His mother, usually bustling and cheerful, had been quiet that morning, her eyes distant as she polished the same spot on the worn counter for the 5th time. His father, a man of few words, but deep sentiments, had simply placed a hand on Ren's shoulder, a silent plea hanging in the air. The unspoken weight of their legacy, their dream, settled heavily on Ren. He wasn't just fighting for a building, he was fighting for their history, their sweat, and the countless mornings they had poured their hearts into every cup. "You've got to do something, Ren." Kenji's voice had sliced through his despair earlier, practical and insistent as ever. He'd called Ren the moment he'd heard the rumors swirling through the city's tech circles. "Go talk to her. Confront her. Don't just sit there and let her swallow your family whole." Kenji was right. Ren couldn't afford to be the shy, hesitant boy anymore. This wasn't about a casual rejection from years ago. This was about survival. He needed to face Akari Kaito, not Akari, his childhood crush. Clenching his jaw, Ren hailed a taxi, giving the address of the gleaming Kaito Industries skyscraper. The building itself was a monument to modern ambition, a slender spire of glass and steel piercing the Tokyo sky, reflecting the morning sun with a blinding intensity. It felt like a fortress, a stark contrast to the cozy, brick-fronted warmth of Tanaka's blend. Each floor Ren ascended in the silent, polished elevator felt like stepping further into an alien world, a world where he was utterly out of his depth. The Kaito Industries reception area was a tableau of corporate chic, minimalist furniture, muted tones, and impossibly beautiful receptionists who moved with the efficiency of well-oiled machines. Ren, still smelling faintly of roasted coffee beans, felt like an anomaly, a relic from a different era. "I'm here to see Akari Kaito," he stated, his voice a little too loud in the hushed space. "It's about Tanaka's blend." The receptionist, a woman with hair like polished obsidian, barely registered his presence. "Do you have an appointment, sir?" Her tone was polite, but cold, a barrier of professional indifference. "No, but it's urgent." "We have history," Ren tried, feeling foolish even as the words left his mouth. A flicker of something amusement? Pity crossed her face. "I'm afraid Ms. Kaito's schedule is fully booked for the foreseeable future. You may submit an inquiry through our corporate channels." She gestured to a holographic display that shimmered with an endless stream of digital forms. Ren clenched his fists. This wasn't going to be easy. He took a deep breath, the scent of expensive air freshener replacing his familiar coffee aroma. He wasn't going to be deterred. "Not this time." "Please," he said, forcing calm into his voice, "just tell her Ren Tanaka is here. She'll know why." The receptionist paused, her fingers hovering over her keyboard. Something in Ren's unwavering gaze, perhaps the desperate resolve, made her hesitate. After a moment, she relented, making a quick call. A few tense minutes later, she directed him to a waiting area, advising him to sit tight. Ren spent the next half hour feeling every second tick by, his mind replaying every encounter with Akari, from the playground arguments to the painful, casual rejection. Finally, a sharp-suited assistant appeared. "Ms. Kaito will see you now. Follow me." He was led down a silent corridor, past glass-walled offices where intense-looking employees tapped away at glowing screens. Everything felt meticulously curated, designed to impress and intimidate. The assistant stopped before a door marked CEO, her expression neutral. Ren pushed it open himself. The office was vast, an expanse of glass overlooking the entire city. The panorama was breathtaking, a testament to Akari's meteoric rise. She stood by the window, her back to him, silhouetted against the cityscape. Her posture was straight, confident, her dark suit immaculately tailored. This was not the Akari who used to secretly share her bento with him behind the school gym, nor the one who'd laugh, sharp and bright, at his clumsy jokes. This was Akari Kaito, titan of industry. "Ren," she said, her voice cool and measured, devoid of any warmth. She turned, her eyes, once sparkling with youthful mischief, now held a sharp, assessing glint. They scanned him, from his slightly rumpled shirt to his worn shoes, and Ren felt a flush of inadequacy creep up his neck. "I assumed you'd show up sooner or later." Her hair, once a messy bob, was now a sleek, sophisticated cut, framing a face that was even more striking than he remembered. She hadn't softened. If anything, she'd sharpened, honed into an even more formidable presence. "Akari, what are you doing?" Ren demanded, cutting straight to the chase. "Why Tanaka's blend? You're a multi-billion-dollar CEO. You could buy anything. Why my family shop?" She walked towards her massive, minimalist desk, her movements fluid and deliberate. She sat, gesturing for him to take the visitor's chair opposite her. Ren remained standing, refusing to be put in a subordinate position. "Sit, Ren," she commanded, her voice firm. He hesitated, then reluctantly complied. Her eyes were unwavering, a challenge in their depths. "It's a strategic acquisition, Ren. Kaito Industries is expanding our brick-and-mortar footprint. Your shop is in a prime location. It has character. A certain nostalgic appeal that aligns with our new brand initiative." "Nostalgic appeal?" Ren scoffed. "It's my family's legacy. My grandparents built that shop from nothing. My parents poured their lives into it. You can't just quantify that into a strategic acquisition." Akari leaned forward, her elbows resting on the polished surface of her desk. Her expression remained impassive, but Ren thought he saw a flicker in her eyes, a brief moment of something akin to defensiveness. "Ren, I understand this is emotional for you, but business is not about sentimentality. It's about opportunity, growth, and market share. Your shop is struggling. We're offering a fair price. More than fair, considering its current financial state. You know what its financial state is because you've been investigating us, haven't you?" The barb struck home, precisely because it was tinged with a painful truth he'd tried to ignore. He was stuck. Stuck in his mundane job, stuck reminiscing, stuck failing to take action. But Akari's words, intended to wound, also ignited a spark. "Maybe I was," Ren conceded, his voice low but firm. "But I'm not anymore. This isn't just about the shop, Akari. This is about everything. About my family. About proving that some things are worth fighting for, even against a corporate empire." He met her gaze head-on, refusing to flinch. "I won't let you take it." Akari's lips curved into a faint, almost imperceptible smile, a predatory smile that Ren remembered from their childhood, one that always preceded a particularly ruthless move in a game of checkers. "That's a bold statement, Ren. Especially coming from someone who still works a clerical job at a company that probably doesn't even know your name. Do you even have a counteroffer in mind?" Her words were designed to mock, to belittle, to remind him of their vastly different stations in life. But this time, instead of shame, Ren felt a surge of pure, unadulterated resolve. The casual rejection from years ago had stung, but this felt like a betrayal of something deeper, a final dismissal of the person he was and the world he cherished. "No, I don't have a counteroffer yet," Ren admitted, pushing himself to his feet. He walked to the edge of her desk, his gaze unwavering. "But I will. And it won't just be about money. It'll be about value, about legacy, about everything you've forgotten in your pursuit of this." He swept his hand across the magnificent office, the city stretching out beyond. Akari leaned back in her chair, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. Was it surprise? Annoyance? Or a faint spark of that old, familiar challenge? Good luck, Ren, she said, her voice still smooth, but with an edge. Kaito Industries plays to win. And we rarely lose. So do I, Akari, Ren retorted, the words surprising even himself with their conviction. He turned and walked out, leaving the cold, silent opulence of her office behind. As the elevator descended, Ren felt a strange mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had confronted her. He had stood his ground. He had declared war in his own small way. Her condescension, her ruthlessness, her casual dismissal of his family's dream, it had all served a purpose. It had stripped away the last vestiges of his old self, the hesitant, daydreaming Ren. He stepped out onto the bustling street, the sunlight suddenly feeling warm and inviting. The city no longer seemed intimidating. He looked back at the towering Kaito Industries building, a symbol of Akari's power. A plan, nebulous and fragile, began to form in his mind. He would fight. He would find a way. He would save Tanaka's blend, not just for his family, but for himself. And in doing so, he would show Akari and himself that Ren Tanaka was not the same person she had rejected years ago. He was ready to build something new. He would start by calling Mr. Yamamoto. The morning after his fiery confrontation with Akari, Ren awoke not to the usual dread of another monotonous workday, but to a potent cocktail of fear and exhilaration. The aroma of brewing coffee from downstairs, usually a comforting scent, now carried the weight of his family's legacy. He sat up in bed, the sheets tangled around him, the image of Akari's piercing eyes and the cool confidence of her corporate facade burned into his mind. She wants Tanaka's brew. The thought ignited a fire in his gut he hadn't known was there. He stumbled out of bed, grabbing a worn notebook and a pen. His first instinct was to fight, but how? He was just Ren Tanaka, the uninspired office drone. He scribbled frantically, ideas flowing like a sputtering faucet. Renovate menu? New marketing? Online presence? Each suggestion felt pathetically inadequate against the might of Akari's tech empire. He knew nothing about business strategy, negotiations, or, frankly, how to save a struggling local shop from a predatory acquisition. His usual approach to problems was to hope they'd disappear, or for Kenji to fix his computer. This wasn't a glitch he could reboot. He needed help. Specifically, he needed a reality check, a dose of common sense, and perhaps a strategy that didn't involve him standing in front of Akari skyscraper with a "Save Our Coffee Shop" placard. His first stop was Kenji's Tech Solutions, nestled in a bustling side street just a few train stops away. The small shop hummed with the quiet whir of fans and the click of keyboards. Kenji, perpetually surrounded by a jungle of disassembled electronics and half-eaten instant ramen, looked up from soldering a circuit board. His thick-rimmed glasses were perched on his nose, slightly askew. Well, if it isn't Mr. Corporate Saboteur, Kenji greeted, a playful smirk spreading across his face. Heard you had quite the showdown yesterday. Word travels fast in our little district. Ren slumped onto a stool, running a hand through his already messy hair. It wasn't a showdown, Kenji. It was a humiliation. She practically laughed me out of her office. He recounted the meeting, his voice tinged with frustration. Kenji put down his tools, wiping his hands on a greasy rag. Okay, so she's a shark. You knew that. Tsundere CEO, remember? What did you expect? A hug and a heartfelt apology for past rejections. He paused, sensing Ren's genuine distress. Look, dude, this isn't about Akari Kaito the girl anymore. This is about Akari Kaito, CEO of Kitech. She sees a valuable asset, an acquisition target. And you, my friend, are standing in the way. So what do I do? Give up? Let her tear down Tanaka's brew and put up some sterile, soulless tech hub. Ren's voice rose, his indignation clear. Kenji leaned back, steepling his fingers. No, you don't give up. But you also don't fight a tank with a water pistol. You need a strategy. What makes Tanaka's brew unique? What's its value beyond just coffee beans and nostalgic memories for you? Ren frowned. It's ours. It's home. It's part of the community. Exactly. Kenji snapped his fingers. That's your selling point. Kaito wants it because of its prime location, maybe its established customer base. But they don't see the soul. You need to show them that soul, and package it into a counteroffer that makes them realize tearing it down would be a bigger loss than just the money they'd save. He picked up a disconnected motherboard. Think outside the box, Ren. What if your coffee shop isn't just a coffee shop anymore? What if it's an experience? A cultural hub? Something that Kaito, with all its tech, can't replicate or enhance without you. The idea sparked something in Ren, a tiny ember of hope amidst the vast darkness of his inexperience. But how did he translate soul and community into a business proposal? He felt a new wave of overwhelm. Later that afternoon, seeking a different kind of solace, Ren found himself at the familiar sliding door of Mr. Yamamoto's tea house. The air inside was thick with the gentle fragrance of sencha and the quiet rustle of paper screens. Mr. Yamamoto, his face a roadmap of gentle wisdom, sat cross-legged by a low table, meticulously whisking matcha in a ceramic bowl. Ren-kun, the old man greeted, his voice a soft murmur. You carry a storm within you today. Come, sit. A cup of warmth for a troubled mind. Ren knelt opposite him, accepting the bitter, frothy tea. He explained the situation. The pressure, Akari's unexpected reappearance, and his desperate need to save his family's shop. Mr. Yamamoto listened patiently, his eyes distant, as if gazing into another realm. The willow bends, Ren-kun, but does not break. The storm tests its roots, not its leaves. He sipped his tea thoughtfully. Your family shop, Tanaka's brew, it is not merely wood and brick, nor just coffee beans and water. It is a story. It is the countless conversations held within its walls, the friendships forged, the laughter shared. It is the roots of this community. Ren nodded, understanding the metaphor. But how do I make her see that, Mr. Yamamoto? Akari only sees profit and expansion. Even a mighty tree, reaching for the heavens, relies on the unseen network beneath the soil, Mr. Yamamoto continued. Kaito is a young tree, strong and vibrant, but its roots are shallow. Your shop has roots that run deep, nurtured by generations. Perhaps you need to show her how those roots can nourish her tree, not be severed by it. How tradition and innovation can grow together, like two vines intertwining. He offered a gentle smile. Do not discard your roots in pursuit of a new path, Ren-kun. But do not be afraid to let them grow in new directions. A cup of tea, however traditional, can be served with a new appreciation in a modern world. His words resonated deeply. Kenji spoke of unique selling propositions. Mr. Yamamoto spoke of roots and growth. The ideas, disparate as they were, began to converge in Ren's mind. Meanwhile, high above the bustling streets, Akari Kaito sat in her minimalist office, the city sprawling beneath her like a complex circuit board. On her desk, a tablet displayed detailed analytics for Tanaka's brew. Foot traffic, average spending, peak hours, all meticulously quantified. Her assistant, a prim young woman named Yumi, stood by, awaiting instructions. The latest demographic report shows a strong core of loyal, multi-generational customers, Yumi stated, her voice crisp. And a surprising percentage of digital natives using our app for advance orders. Akari tapped a stylus against the screen, not truly seeing the data. Her mind kept replaying Ren's defiant gaze, the tremor in his voice. He still cares. It was a ridiculous thought for a CEO to entertain, but it lingered. His passion, however unrefined, was unexpectedly potent. She felt a strange pang, a flicker of something she hadn't felt in years, a warmth battling against the cold, strategic logic she lived by. Increase the offer slightly, Akari suddenly ordered, her voice betraying none of her internal conflict. And focus the next report on community engagement, local events, partnerships. I want a deeper understanding of its intangible value. Yumi blinked, surprised. Intangible value, CEO Kaito? We usually focus on tangible assets. Just do it, Yumi. Akari waved a dismissive hand, turning back to the panoramic window, her reflection a formidable silhouette against the cityscape. You're not making this easy, Ren Tanaka. As Ren left the tea house, a renewed sense of purpose coursed through him. He was sketching ideas in his notebook, feeling the buzz of a burgeoning strategy, when his path was abruptly intercepted. A sleek, obsidian-colored luxury car idled at the curb, its tinted window sliding down to reveal a man with impossibly perfect hair and a tailored suit that probably cost more than Ren's entire wardrobe. Hiroshi Nakamura. Hiroshi, an executive at a rival tech firm and a known figure in the startup scene, offered a condescending smile. "Ren Tanaka, isn't it? I hear you're causing quite a stir with CEO Kaito." His eyes, sharp and calculating, swept over Ren's simple attire, lingering on his worn shoes. "Chasing after old flames, are we? Or perhaps trying to hold on to some quaint, bygone era?" Ren's blood immediately chilled. Hiroshi had a reputation, a predatory elegance that made him uncomfortable. "My family shop is not quaint, Nakamura-san. It's a legacy." Hiroshi chuckled, a low, smooth sound that grated on Ren's nerves. "A legacy? In this market? Sentimental value doesn't pay the bills, Tanaka-san. These days, it's about scalability, innovation, market disruption. Kaitech understands that. Perhaps that's why Ms. Kaito is considering some strategic partnerships with companies that truly grasp the future." He paused, letting his words hang in the air, a subtle threat. It would be a shame for small, family-run establishments to stand in the way of progress. They rarely survive such encounters. The implication was clear. Hiroshi was not only vying for Akari's attention, but also for her company's strategic alignment, and he saw Ren as an irrelevant obstacle. The car window slid back up, and with a soft whir, the luxury vehicle purred away, leaving Ren standing alone on the pavement, a bitter taste in his mouth. The encounter, however, solidified something in Ren. This wasn't just about Akari anymore. This was a battle for his family's future against both a formidable corporate giant and opportunistic rivals. He wasn't just fighting to save a coffee shop. He was fighting for the very idea of tradition, community, and the human touch in a world increasingly dominated by cold, hard tech. He looked down at his notebook, the scrawled ideas now making sense. Kenji's pragmatic advice, Yamamoto's philosophical wisdom, Akari's confusing signals, and now Hiroshi's veiled threats, they all coalesced into a single, audacious vision. He wouldn't just reject Akari's offer. He would present a counter-proposal so compelling, so intrinsically linked to the soul of Tanaka's brew, that it would force her to see the shop not as an asset to be devoured, but as a unique opportunity, a living bridge between the past and the future. He would propose a partnership, one that didn't just preserve his family's legacy, but allowed it to thrive, pushing Akari's cutting-edge technology to serve a purpose beyond mere efficiency. It was a long shot, perhaps an insane one. But for the first time in his life, Ren felt truly, powerfully alive. He would show them all that the heart of a small coffee shop could beat as strongly as the pulse of a global tech empire. The real fight was about to begin. The polished chrome doors of Kaito Corp's executive floor slid open with a whisper, revealing a space that gleamed with minimalist design and an air of quiet power. Ren took a deep breath, the scent of expensive air freshener a stark contrast to the comforting aroma of roasted beans that usually clung to him. He was dressed in his best and only suit, borrowed from Kenji, a dark charcoal that felt both restrictive and empowering. His heart thumped a nervous rhythm against his ribs, but beneath it, a steady current of resolve flowed. "You've got this, man," Kenji whispered, clapping him on the shoulder, his usual cheerful demeanor slightly subdued by the corporate gravity of the place. "Remember Mr. Yamamoto's advice, a tree stands firmest against the wind when its roots are deepest." Ren nodded, the metaphor a solid anchor in the swirling sea of his apprehension. He wasn't just Ren Tanaka, the uninspired office worker anymore. Today, he was the guardian of Tanaka's hearth. Inside the sprawling, glass-walled conference room, Akari Kaito sat at the head of a long, obsidian table, her posture impeccably straight. Her eyes, usually a sharp, piercing blue, seemed a shade softer today, though her expression remained as carefully neutral as ever. Beside her sat Hiroshi Nakamura, an expensive tailored suit clinging to his athletic frame, a smirk playing on his lips as he glanced at Ren. His presence felt like an unwelcome chill. Renkuin, Akari greeted, her voice cool and even, lacking any of the childhood familiarity that would make him flinch or hope. Thank you for coming. And Kenji-san, it's good to see you again. Kenji offered a polite bow, while Ren simply nodded, taking a seat directly across from Akari, Kenji settling beside him. The air was thick with unspoken tension, the only sound the gentle hum of the building's advanced climate control. Shall we begin? Akari prompted, her gaze unwavering. Ren cleared his throat, pushing the sleek tablet Kenji had lent him across the table. It contained his proposal, refined over countless late nights, fueled by strong coffee and Mr. Yamamoto's cryptic wisdom. Thank you, Akari-san. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. He didn't stutter. He didn't look away. I'm here to present a counter-proposal regarding Tanaka's hearth. Hiroshi let out a soft, almost imperceptible scoff. A counter-proposal from a single coffee shop? Kaito Corp deals in billions, Tanaka-san. Ren ignored him, fixing his gaze on Akari. Tanaka's hearth is more than just a coffee shop, Akari-san. It's a legacy. A community hub. My family's entire history is steeped in its walls. He began, his voice gaining strength. Your initial offer, while generous, fundamentally misunderstands the value of what you're trying to acquire. You're not just buying property, you're buying soul. He tapped the tablet, projecting an infographic onto the massive screen at the end of the room. It wasn't a flashy corporate presentation. It was warm, inviting, featuring photographs of the coffee shop throughout the decades, black and white images of his grandparents, sepia tones of his parents, and vibrant modern shots of the bustling interior. My proposal isn't about rejection. It's about partnership, Ren continued, his voice resonating with conviction. Tanaka's hearth offers unparalleled authentic Japanese craftsmanship in coffee brewing, a unique brand identity that resonates with a growing demographic seeking quality and tradition. We propose a collaboration where Kaito Corp provides the technological infrastructure, the marketing reach, and the logistical expertise, while Tanaka's hearth retains its ownership, its identity, and its master brewers. He outlined a vision, an expansion of Tanaka's hearth into a boutique chain, leveraging Akari's delivery tech for local distribution, her AI-driven customer insights for market targeting, and her global network for sourcing specialty beans. He even suggested a hearth hub concept, a physical location within Kaito Corp's future commercial developments, offering not just coffee, but a slice of authentic, community-focused tranquility amidst the urban rush. We bring the heritage, the unparalleled product, and the loyal customer base. Kaito Corp brings the future, Ren concluded, taking a breath. He'd meticulously researched market trends, customer demographics, and even Kaito Corp's recent initiatives into sustainable, local partnerships. He hadn't just rejected Akari. He dissected her empire and found a way to weave his own small thread into its vast tapestry. Silence hung heavy in the room. Hiroshi's smirk had vanished, replaced by a scowl. Kenji, beside Ren, looked like a proud father. Akari, however, remained impassive. She picked up a stylus and tapped a few notes on her own tablet, her expression unreadable. Then she leaned back, her eyes meeting Ren's. Your market analysis on the authenticity trend is sound, Renkuin, she acknowledged, her voice devoid of emotion, yet not dismissive. And the hearth hub concept has merit. However, her gaze hardened slightly. Your projections for scalability are ambitious, given your current operational capacity. And your proposed equity split, while reflective of your perceived brand value, is highly optimistic for a business of your current size. She wasn't tearing him down. She was engaging, challenging him on his own terms. Ren felt a surge of exhilaration. We understand that, Ren countered, and that's where Kaito Corp's expertise comes in. We'd be investing not just in a brand, but in its potential. The equity split reflects the long-term value, not just the immediate assets. We're offering a stake in a unique story, something your cutting-edge tech cannot replicate from scratch. Hiroshi cleared his throat, interjecting with a condescending tone. Akari, while Tanaka-san's passion is quaint, his proposal lacks the strategic depth of a true corporate acquisition. My own company, Nexus Innovations, could offer Kaito Corp a much more streamlined and profitable partnership, leveraging our existing infrastructure for your expansion without the sentimental entanglements. Akari held up a hand, silencing Hiroshi without even looking at him. Her gaze returned to Ren, and for a fleeting moment, Ren saw something flicker in her eyes. Not just the calculating CEO, but a hint of a different Akari. Sentimental entanglements, she repeated, a ghost of a smile touching her lips, so faint Ren almost missed it. Perhaps. But sometimes, Mr. Nakamura, sentiment has its own strategic value. She paused, then her eyes seemed to drift, not to Ren, but through him, to a distant memory. I remember the scent of your grandmother's jasmine tea at the shop, and the way the light used to filter through the windows in the afternoon, painting stripes across the wooden floor. Ren's breath hitched. He hadn't expected her to remember such a specific detail. It was a memory from their childhood, a lazy afternoon spent studying, or perhaps just goofing off, in the quiet warmth of Tanaka's hearth. It was a detail only someone who had truly experienced the shop, not just seen it, would recall. You remember that? Ren asked, the carefully constructed wall of his corporate persona cracking slightly. Akari nodded slowly, her expression softening almost imperceptibly. I remember many things, Rinkuin, including how simple things felt back then. Before, everything changed. Her voice dropped to a near whisper, a stark contrast to her earlier sharp business tone. This relentless climb to the top, it strips away a lot. Sometimes, I wonder what I'm even fighting for, beyond the next quarter's projections. There's a certain emptiness, even at the pinnacle. She met his gaze then, and the vulnerability in her eyes was undeniable. It wasn't the ruthless CEO speaking, it was Akari, the girl who used to secretly slip him half her bentos, the girl whose Tsundere acts always hid a deeper kindness. She seemed to be speaking not just about her business, but about her life, a subtle confession of the cost of her success. The taste of true artisanal coffee, the warmth of a place like Tanaka's hearth, it's a connection to something real, Akari continued, almost to herself. Something I haven't tasted or felt in a very long time. She sighed, a delicate, almost imperceptible sound. Your proposal, it offers a different kind of value, Rinkuin. One that doesn't fit neatly into a spreadsheet. Hiroshi shifted uncomfortably, clearly perturbed by the sudden shift in atmosphere. Akari, are you truly considering letting personal sentiment compromise a strategic business decision? Akari finally turned to Hiroshi, her expression tightening back into her usual formidable mask. My decisions, Mr. Nakamura, are always strategic. The question is, what strategy best serves Kaito Corp's long-term interests? Sometimes, it's not just about what generates the most immediate profit, but what cultivates genuine loyalty and adds a unique dimension to our brand identity. She turned back to Rin, her eyes once again sharp, but with a new depth, a lingering echo of the vulnerability he'd just witnessed. You've certainly given me something to think about, Rinkuin. More than you know. Her gaze lingered on him for a beat too long, a subtle, unspoken message passing between them. I will review your proposal in detail. We'll be in touch. The meeting was dismissed. Ren felt a strange mix of triumph and confusion. He'd stood his ground, presented a compelling offer, and seen Akari Kaito, the tech titan, falter, revealing a glimpse of the lonely woman beneath. As he gathered his tablet, Akari rose and walked towards the floor-to-ceiling windows, her back to them. Her reflection in the glass, framed by the dazzling cityscape she commanded, looked oddly small, almost isolated. Just as Rin reached the door, Akari's voice, barely above a whisper, drifted across the silent room. Rinkuin, she said, without turning. Do you remember the secret ingredient for your grandmother's matcha latte? The one she only made for us. Rin froze, his hand on the cold chrome handle. His grandmother had a secret recipe, a tiny pinch of a unique spice that transformed her matcha latte into something truly magical. It was a childhood secret, something he'd thought only they knew. Akari remembering it now, it wasn't just a detail. It was an invitation. A question. Yes, Ren said, his voice surprisingly steady. I do. Akari simply nodded, still looking out at the city, her silhouette outlined by the setting sun. But Ren knew, with a certainty that hummed in his very bones, that something profound had just shifted between them. The business battle was far from over, but the personal one, it had just truly begun. And the stakes, he realized, were far higher than just the future of Tanaka's hearth. The silence that followed Ren's final words in the Kaito Corp boardroom was deafening, thick with unspoken implications. He stood tall, the tremor in his hands barely perceptible, his gaze unwavering as it met Akari's. Her face, usually a mask of cool determination, was now an unreadable canvas, her eyes shimmering with something akin to unshed tears. The vulnerability he'd glimpsed in Chapter 4 was still there, a raw edge to her normally impeccable composure. Then a ripple ran through the assembled board members. Muffled whispers, a clearing of throats, and then a decisive voice cut through the air. Mr. Tanaka, an elderly board member, his spectacles perched on the end of his nose, began, "Your proposal is unique and undeniably compelling." He turned to Akari. "Ms. Kaito, your original acquisition strategy, while financially sound, lacked the emotional resonance that Mr. Tanaka has so clearly articulated. And given the unexpected surge in Sakura Brew's online presence over the past week, a direct result of this ongoing public discussion, the PR implications of a hostile takeover have become far more complex." Akari nodded slowly, her voice soft, almost subdued. "I understand, Director Suzuki." She looked back at Ren, a flicker of something unidentifiable in her eyes. "My intent was never to cause harm to a local business, merely to incorporate it into a larger vision." Her words sounded hollow even to her own ears. "However, Mr. Tanaka has presented a viable alternative that respects his family's legacy while also offering a pathway for Kaito Corp to foster community engagement and support local businesses, albeit in a different capacity." Hiroshi Nakamura, who had been sitting with an air of detached amusement throughout Ren's presentation, finally spoke, a smooth, practiced smile on his lips. "A spirited defense, Ren. I must commend your tenacity." His tone, however, held a thinly veiled condescension. "It seems Akari-chan has a soft spot for sentimental appeals. Perhaps it's a strategy one should consider next time." He shot a glance at Akari, a possessive glint in his eye, before turning back to Ren. "But remember, local charm can only take you so far in this market. The real battles are fought in the global arena." Akari's eyes narrowed imperceptibly at Hiroshi's remark, but she ignored it, focusing solely on Ren. "The board will deliberate, Mr. Tanaka. But know that your proposal has been received." The deliberation was surprisingly swift. Ren was asked to step out, and within 15 minutes, he was called back in. Director Suzuki, now smiling genuinely, made the announcement. "Mr. Tanaka, after careful consideration, Kaito Corp has decided to not pursue the acquisition of Sakura Brew under the terms initially proposed. Instead, we are willing to explore a partnership, a collaborative venture, perhaps providing marketing support, logistical expertise, and even investing in a cautious expansion, but with Sakura Brew retaining its unique identity and your family's ownership." A wave of pure, unadulterated relief washed over Ren, so potent it almost buckled his knees. He had done it. He had saved his family shop. A genuine, unself-conscious smile spread across his face, a smile that reached his eyes and made them shine with triumph. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you all. We would be honored to discuss a partnership." He stole a glance at Akari. Her gaze was still fixed on him, a complex mix of emotions swirling within their depths. Was it disappointment? Admiration? Something else entirely? He couldn't tell. But for the first time, the victory felt like it belonged solely to him, independent of her, a testament to his own newfound strength. Stepping out of the towering Kaito Corp building, Ren felt like he was walking on air. The city, usually a blur of indifferent faces, seemed to hum with his own triumph. He pulled out his phone, his fingers trembling slightly as he dialed Kenji. "You won, didn't you?" Kenji's voice exploded through the speaker, brimming with a joyful anticipation that bordered on psychic. "We won, Kenji. Ren laughed, a deep, genuine laugh that echoed in the busy street. The shop is safe. They want to partner with us. Yes, I knew it. I told you. You're a natural man. We're celebrating tonight on me. Ramen, karaoke, the works. Kenji cheered, a cascade of excited questions following. Ren promised to tell him everything later, his heart swelling with gratitude for his best friend's unwavering belief. Next, he called his parents. His mother's gasp of relief and his father's quiet, heartfelt, "That's my son," brought tears to his eyes. The burden he hadn't realized he'd been carrying for so long finally lifted. Later that evening, after the initial rush of celebration subsided, Ren found himself at Mr. Yamamoto's tea house. The familiar scent of roasted green tea and aged wood calmed his still buzzing nerves. "You seem lighter, Ren-kun," Mr. Yamamoto observed, pouring a fresh cup of sencha. Ren recounted the boardroom drama, the tension, his speech, and the ultimate outcome. He spoke of his own surprise at his confidence, at Akari's unexpected vulnerability. Mr. Yamamoto listened patiently, a serene smile on his face. "The tea leaf, Ren-kun," he began, holding up a delicate dried leaf. "It requires fire to release its true essence. Before that, it is merely potential. You, too, have been tempered by the flames, and now your true essence begins to emerge." He took a sip. As for Ms. Kaito, perhaps she, too, is a tea leaf, still tightly curled. Sometimes, the heat that liberates us also reveals our hidden fragility. "I just don't understand her," Mr. Yamamoto, Ren admitted, swirling his tea. "One moment she's this ruthless CEO, the next she looks like she's about to cry. And then Hiroshi, he just complicates everything." Life, like a good tea ceremony, is rarely straightforward, Mr. Yamamoto chuckled softly. "There are many layers, many flavors. The important thing is that you held your ground, Ren-kun. You found your own path. And that, in itself, is a victory more profound than any acquisition." As Ren walked home, the city lights blurring into streaks of gold and silver, Mr. Yamamoto's words resonated. He had changed. He wasn't the same shy, uncertain Ren who had been casually rejected all those years ago. He was stronger, clearer about his goals, and most importantly, he had proven his worth to himself. The next morning, the bell above the door of Sakura Brew chimed, signaling a new customer. Ren, wiping down the counter, looked up and froze. Standing just inside, dressed not in a sharp business suit but a simple, elegant blouse and tailored trousers, was Akari Kaito. Her usually severe hair was softer, framing a face devoid of its typical corporate armor. "Akari?" Ren asked, surprised. "What are you doing here?" She took a deep breath, her shoulders rising and falling. I needed to see you." Away from the boardroom, away from all the pretense. She looked around the cozy shop, her eyes lingering on the hand-drawn menu, the worn wooden tables, the gentle steam rising from the espresso machine. "It's exactly as I remember it." Her voice was barely a whisper. Ren felt a strange mix of anticipation and apprehension. This was different. This wasn't a business negotiation. This was personal. "Come, sit," he offered, gesturing to a small table by the window. He poured her a fresh coffee, black, just as she always preferred. Akari took a sip, her eyes closing for a moment as if savoring not just the taste, but the memory it evoked. When she opened them, they were clear, direct, and utterly free of her usual Tsundere guard. "Rin," she began, her voice steady but laced with an uncharacteristic tremor. "What I said yesterday in the meeting, about incorporating the shop into a larger vision. That wasn't entirely honest." Rin waited, his gaze locked on hers, his heart beginning to beat a little faster. "When I heard your family shop was struggling, it hit me harder than I expected," she confessed, her voice dropping. "This place, it was where we spent so many afternoons. Where you'd share your absurd daydreams, and I'd pretend not to listen. It was a constant. And the thought of it disappearing, of that part of our past, our history, being erased, it terrified me." Her eyes met his, raw and vulnerable. "My initial thought was to acquire it, to save it my way, to bring it into my empire so it would never vanish. It was a misguided attempt to hold on to something. To connect with you again, perhaps. Ren listened, stunned. He had never considered this perspective. He'd always seen her actions as purely ruthless business. And when you rejected me all those years ago, she continued, her voice barely audible, I reacted poorly. I lashed out. I built walls. I focused all my energy on proving myself, on becoming untouchable, so no one could ever make me feel that vulnerable again. A small, bitter laugh escaped her lips. I became the Tsundere CEO. But beneath it all, I regretted it, Ren. I regretted how I handled things, how I treated you. And seeing you yesterday, standing up for yourself, for your family, with such passion and integrity, it showed me how much you've grown and how much I've stagnated in some ways. She looked down at her hands, clasped tightly on the table. I'm sorry, Ren. For everything. The sincerity in her voice was undeniable. The facade was truly gone, replaced by a raw honesty that disarmed Ren completely. He saw not the formidable CEO, but the girl he had once loved, scarred by her own insecurities and regrets. Akari. He started, unsure what to say. The anger, the resentment he'd harbored, seemed to dissipate like mist in the morning sun. He had fought and he had won. And now she was offering him something he never thought he'd get, an honest confession. She looked up, her eyes bright with unshed tears. I never stopped thinking about you, Ren. Even as I built my empire, a part of me always wondered, what if? She swallowed hard. I pushed you away because I was afraid. Afraid of not being enough. Afraid of letting myself be vulnerable again. Ren reached across the table, covering her clasped hands with his own. Her skin was cool beneath his touch. It's okay, Akari, he said, his voice soft, filled with understanding. We were both kids. We both made mistakes. But we're not those kids anymore, are we? She nodded, a tear finally escaping and tracing a path down her cheek. No, she whispered. We're not. Their eyes met, a profound understanding passing between them. The past, with its rejections and misunderstandings, was finally acknowledged, finally, truly confronted. A new chapter had indeed begun, not with a sudden rekindling of romance, but with something far more foundational, honesty, respect, and a mutual recognition of their individual journeys and growth. The coffee shop, now safe, hummed with a quiet warmth. The air, once heavy with the ghosts of past hurts, was now filled with the promise of something new. Ren had saved his family's legacy, found his own confidence, and in an unexpected turn, unlocked the heart of the woman who had once rejected him. But as Akari wiped her tears and a faint, hopeful smile touched her lips, a sudden alert flashed on her smartwatch, vibrating subtly. Her eyes narrowed slightly as she glanced at it, a flicker of her old corporate focus returning, quickly masked. Ren, she said, her voice regaining a hint of its usual resolve about that partnership. I think we should expand it. Starting with an ambitious project that will put Sakura Brew on the map. Because while we've saved the past, the future is waiting, and I have a feeling it's going to be far more challenging and exciting than either of us could have imagined.